All right, guys, welcome back to Noob 101. This video is going to be concerning itself with managing resources. So you're now in the game. The first thing you're going to do, like day one, the very first thing you're going to do is what I call tune your resources. So you can see here, all the resources are listed here. I cut off the gas at the bottom, but because it's not important. Um, so here's the deal. You will go to your resources button, and the resources button looks like this. Whether you're playing on the mobile or on a desktop computer or laptop, click on this button. And what this allows you to do is tune your resources. I say tune, some people say slide, because what it is, it's a slider system. So the idea being that under the food category, you can shift your usage back and forth. So if you have a lot of fish, but not much grain, you can slide this slider um, further to the further to the use side of things, that you're using more of the fish. And what it'll do is it'll reduce your use of grain. So when one slider goes one way, the other slider goes the other way. We use this when we have deficiency in any particular resource category. And again, the idea is, well, we're low on grain. We're going to shift over our food for our troops a little more heavily over to fish, right? So there's flexibility between these two food sources. But there is also a limit, right? You're still limited to a maximum possible production based on how many, say, for instance, grain tiles you have and how well developed they are. Do you have any buildings there that are increasing your production of grain? We'll talk about those buildings coming up soon. But for now, the first thing you're going to do when you go into the game is come in here and tune everything equally. Make everything equal. So what I could do right here is I could pull this slider and increase this 174. At the same time, this 668 will go down, and just keep doing that until you have balance there. Now, there absolutely are exceptions to this. When we talk about the stock market, we'll talk about when you might not want to balance your tuned resources. But at the beginning of the game, go ahead and just tune everything equally. Same thing over here. Same thing over here. One of the things this slide mentions is that this guy needs to slide his wood higher. So if I slide my wood higher, wow, that sounds perverted. Jesus Christ. Anyway, if I do that, what will happen is this will turn blue and will increase in value. And then this will, of course, decrease in value. Now, the same idea holds true for this. If you have more iron than you have lumber, which seems to be the case here, I just kind of naturally have more iron resources because maybe I have more territories that have iron. What I'm basically saying is, okay, a lot of the things we use iron for, we can use lumber for. So actually, I'm sorry, the opposite of that, because we're short on lumber. A lot of the things we use lumber for, we can use iron for in terms of building stuff. So we'll increase the amount of lumber. But what we're basically doing is we're shifting our lumber use over to iron. We're shifting the burden of that of the use that to run our society or whatever over to iron. So again, the net effect though is when one slider goes down, the other one comes up. Now, coal, oil, and gas are a little different because there are three of them. And so what I always do in the early game is I first dial my gas as low as I can get it, close to zero, but still on the plus side. I always like to say you want to be in the blue, right? You don't want to be in the red. And then I dial my oil as high as I can. Now, the reason I do that is that it's weird because since there's three sliders, it can be a little wonky. But if you do it in that order, gas all the way as low as you can get it, and then oil as high as you can get it, you'll see because when you change the oil, it affects this slider. So what you'll do is you'll change your oil as high as you can get it, and at the same time, watch the coal because you don't want that coal to go below zero either. Ideally, you'll have your coal and your gas very low production early in the game and your oil at a very high production. The reason for that is a lot of your early industrial buildings require oil. By the way, oil and iron. So a lot of people actually dial their iron a little high early in the game. That's fine too. But Oil is really, really the most important resource, and it remains the most important resource throughout the game, to be honest with you. That's not always true of iron and lumber. Sometimes, for instance, if you're getting ready to build a bunch of navy, then you'll need a bunch of harbors, and harbors are very wood hungry. If you can imagine building piers and all kinds of, naval stuff, it's going to require a lot of boards, a lot of wood. So that's the next thing you need to do as soon as you get in the game. Tune your resources, try to balance them out. If you want to balance iron a little heavy and definitely oil a little most heavy, then I highly recommend that as well. Okay, again, short and simple. See you in the next video. Adios, amigos.